So, after I watched this episode of旦那が何, I had to go look up what was wrong with the art this episode, because I couldn't be the only one that noticed the massive difference in art. Like, it looked completely different from any other episode thus far from旦那が何. I was like, what the hell am I watching? I actually, in the middle of this episode, I was questioning if I was even watching the same series, because the art is nothing alike compared to the previous episode, so I was like, whoa. So I looked up and found out that whoever was directing this episode has a very unique taste in art style, and he pretty much brought his art style to the table in this episode, and that's pretty much what happened. Now, like I said, the art is different, but the animation was good. Animation looked pretty nice for an anime short, so I won't put down the animation. Art style is pretty funky. When you go from the last episode to this episode, it's very jarring, and you're like, whoa, it's just very different. Very, very, very different. Honestly, the art style reminds me a lot of Higurashi. Seriously, the art style of certain faces looked exactly like Higurashi. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, did this dude work on Higurashi? I mean, I didn't look up exactly what he worked on, but I'm just curious, did this dude ever work on Higurashi and those, dirt faces they have in the series? But anyways, this episode, besides the art style that was just very different, this episode is really good. Once again, another great episode of旦那が何. The main concept you see is our main female character, the wife, has to deal with being alone. For instance, you see how she's drinking a lot, she's smoking a lot, stuff like that. Her life was just pretty miserable. She was doing a job she didn't want, and stuff like that. And as the episode progressed, pretty much it was just getting worse and worse for her, and she woke up out of the bed, and she realized she had a husband and everything was fine. So, it's really good to know that her life has changed for the better after, what we saw in the past with her, to see how she now has her husband, she now lives a very good life and does what she wants to do. I am glad she was able to move past that difficult time in her life to go into something like this. So this episode gives us some actual, I guess, characterization for our main female character, and that's what this episode does. The comedy isn't that big, there's not much comedy. I mean, there is, it isn't, it depends on your taste of comedy, but it was an enjoyable episode nonetheless. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.